The reason I sew is because I'm one of a kind. Why would I want to go buy a jacket at a local great store where Susie, my neighbor who likes my jacket, could go buy the same one? So I love to embellish to make my clothes extra special, just like you are. Hi, I'm Londa, and I'm a pattern designer. I love to create one-of-a-kind jackets on a sweatshirt base. A lot of times people say to me, I couldn't believe that that's a sweatshirt. And I know the reason is because I take time to make them fit first. So that's what I'm going to teach you today, how to make your sweatshirt jackets fit. I have two techniques. First of all, let's talk about the sweatshirt itself. I like an 80% cotton, 20% polyester sweatshirt and a dropped sleeve, not a raglan. The first thing you want to do is take away any evidence that it was a sweatshirt. So you can see on this one that I've already cut off the neck ribbing and the cuffs, and now I'm going to go ahead and finish cutting off the lower ribbing. When I started, I would laboriously rip that all apart, and now I just take my scissors and go right in on top of the band on the sweatshirt side and just cut it off. Now the lower ribbing is like gold. You want to save that because you can do all kinds of really creative things with it. Do you see how I've made use of the lower ribbing here to finish off this cardigan neckline on this jacket? On this bright pink one, I used a single layer of it for embellishment, so never throw away the lower ribbing. In my first method, you want to use a sweatshirt just big enough to get around you. And let me show you what's going to happen. Do you see how long this circumference is around the sleeve on a regular drop sleeve sweatshirt? Look how much we're going to take out. We're going to take it out from underneath the arm. So I'm going to show you how to do that today for method number 1 with my model June. All the ribbings are cut off. I've slashed it up the front after locating the center front, and now I'm just simply going to pin out the excess. If in doubt, a little less is better. You can always go back and pin out some additional. So you can see how I've done that. I anchored it to her pant here so I wasn't pulling it. Places to mark, stabilization of the neckline with stay stitching. There's more information about stabilization in my books and my patterns. You can establish how long your sleeve might be. You could take up hem, so you can do all of this in your first fitting. Thank you so much, June. A shoulder pad is also a really good thing to remember to use in method number 1, just to lift that sleeve a little bit more. So once you've pinned that in, you're going to take it and you're going to smooth those pin lines out with a marker. So on this side, I've already done that. And then I have sewn it with polyester thread and a longer stitch than normal because you're using a thick sweatshirt. That being done, now understand I've only done one side. This is my wonderful technique of making both sides work. Then I'm simply going to rotary cut off this side, leaving about a 3/8 of an inch seam. You can do this on yourself. I'm right-handed, so I'm always pinning my left side. Didn't push quite hard enough there. Then this, you simply flip and take it to the other side. Can you see that I had hand-basted the locations for my side seams? Sometimes shoulder sweatshirts have side seams and sometimes they don't. But if they don't, you really do need to locate that. So then you would just pin this on. So you can see that that really just acts as a pattern. Then all you need to do is rotary cut off the same amount, take a seam with the same seam allowance that you left over here, and you're done. However, you do have an innie curve here, which must be clipped. So I'm going to go over to the serger now and show you how I clip into that and then finish off this seam so it looks nice inside. I use really technical terms. Under the arm, we have what we call an innie curve. And when this garment turns right side out and it's on your body, this edge ends up like this. So it's a longer distance around. It's an outie curve. So what you need to do, you must clip. Now don't be, as I say, a chicken clipper, but you've got to clip right up to, but obviously not through your stitching. So as much as you see me doing here, all in that underarm area. Then you go to the serger. If you don't have a serger, you could use a great big 3-step zigzag on your sewing machine. Knits don't ravel, so it's not necessary to serge it, but we like our things to look just as nice as if we had bought them in the store. Now the key is when you get to that curve, you are going to, do you see how you pull it straight? You don't serge around the curve, you actually pull it straight so that you're going to actually be putting some thread in the air, so that when you turn it right side out and wear it, there's expansion room there. Sergers go fast. I love that part. Obviously, on method number 1, it's better to take less rather than too much to start with, because if you had done all this and then it was too tight under the arm, you'd have to start all over with a new sweatshirt. Okay, so now let's go talk about method number 2. All right, to finish up on method 1, there are a few things that I want to draw your attention to. One is, remember how the neck grew so much when you cut the upper ribbing off? You must stay stitch, pull that up, knot it, and then steam out the excess. Also, this is a knit garment, so the edges must be stayed. You can see that I've used straight fusible stay tape. Now, depending upon how you're going to embellish it, that will determine which side of the jacket you're going to put the stay tape on. And also you need to stay the hem where you're going to be stitching. All of those techniques can be found at the website. All right, now one thing that kept presenting itself as I was doing method number 1 was that a lot of women have a lot of fullness in their upper back, so that was causing the side seams to swing to the back and a great cone type thing to manifest itself at the center back. I knew that the best alteration for that was to slash and spread, giving more length down the center back. You can't take an edge like this and put it on a straight fold. It will have to be a seam. So that all led me to method number 2. In method number 2, you're actually going to think of the sweatshirt as fabric and matching ribbing. So what size are you going to buy? You're going to buy a 2XL. If you're a more generous sized woman, then go ahead and buy a 3XL. It's just fabric, but remember to save the lower ribbing. So that's what I've done here. You totally cut the sweatshirt apart. You cut the sleeves out, you cut the sleeves open, you cut it at the shoulder seams and the side seams, and you end up with three different big pieces of fabric. So then you take your pattern and you lay it on your fabric. Look here. Uh-oh. This will tell you that when you have folded the sweatshirt right along one of those lines, and I fold it wrong sides together so that I can see where the lines are, so I'm getting it on grain, you can see that the sweatshirt wasn't really cut on grain in the first place. You will never have a sweatshirt cut totally on grain. So you just go ahead and fold it so that it's straight. Don't worry about matching the edges, and then lay your pattern tissue on. My patterns don't include the whole length because I don't know how much fabric you're going to have. So as you cut it out, you would just simply extend this line down and cut it as long as what you have fabric for. You can see in this case that I have actually used the back fabric out of which to cut the front, because I'm going to do a V neck, and that will get me past that double layer locker patch business that we actually cut out the excess of. So that would be the front, and then here's the back. Do you see once again how it's not even? You cannot match these edges. Cut it just as long as what you have fabric for. Stick a pin down here, reminding you not to come across. Now on the sleeve, if you stop and think about it, you'll realize that that sleeve was hooked to the body in a dropped position. So you're going to be raising it up. The jacket that I have on is method number 2. Do you see where the sleeve to the body seam is up at the natural shoulder line? That's what we're going to accomplish with method number 2, which is actually what most people prefer. But you will see that I simply don't have as much fabric here. So that's just a creative opportunity. All you're going to do is fold this pattern back so that you can cut right along here, and then you'll just have to add fabric, as I've done on my jacket. That's it. I'm sure that you will be so much happier with your sweatshirt jackets if you take time to use one of these techniques to make it fit in the first place.